right, so welcome to this session. We're gonna install a database, and the choice is MySQL on this Mac, and then we're gonna build a web app that creates, reads, updates, and deletes a data set. I'll probably do some sort of user table, and then creating a web app that kind of maintains users in that. This is the third instance in this series, and ultimately, and I think I mentioned that in our last video, is that ultimately we're going to deploy on Azure, and that's a Linux MySQL environment there. So in order to have our local development environment mimic that to the largest extent, I'm going to install MySQL here as well. Let's go MySQL.com, I guess. I think it's owned by Oracle these days, right? And we are just to give you an idea, we are on the M series of chips from Apple, which is an ARM architecture, and then we're going to use the 8.4 version and download that. Okay, I need one of these. I think I might. Let's just do this. Oracle can get a hold of us by looking us up if they want to. No, so MySQL, we're going to run it on this one, and then the in the download is also, if I remember right, the you could say the MySQL kind of administrative interface, MySQL Workbench, and we're going to get that up and running as well, and then we'll need to get the driver set in order for the web app to connect. So we'll figure out where to find that and add to our environment. But let's just set this off. Here we go. Yes, we allow that. Do I need to scroll? Can I just click continue? I agree. Yeah, why not? We're just gonna do the local. Okay, what should that be? Password? No, we're probably not allowed to do that. Let's see. A reasonable password consists of 8 characters. We're just gonna use 8 stars. I'm kidding. We are actually allowed to that. That's crazy, but okay. Here we go. Excellent. So we installed. Move that. Good stuff. And then I think on the Mac we get this bad boy. And basically we are already running, and we need the Workbench. Where's the Workbench? Perhaps I need to install that in a separate, I'm actually unsure. It's not here. Let's see. What we got in here. And it did say all users. So where did it put it? We could go back and say, okay. Okay. It's probably hidden or something like that, isn't it? What did I say? Yeah, it's probably hidden. And I guess it is not installed, and then we'll have to install it. We can do that. We can, there we go. And then we're still here. And then we can download this one. Good. And here we have the Workbench. Okay. There we go. Is that it? That is it. Good stuff. Then we can eject this one. And then since we good. And then we have a local instance. And of course we should have incompatible monster server is a connection for all blah 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 blah. Okay. Fair enough. So we haven't updated it. That's okay. But then we basically have our database here. And we need to create a database then. And how do we do this? What's this? Dashboard, no. I mean, this I guess is a database already. Create schemas. I don't want to create a schema, do I? Let's see. Yes, we do. Where do we have that here? Is there a create schema? Direct to. And then we call this test database. Tell you what, we're just going to call it test DB. And then here we go. And then we're going to create a table. And let's just do a simple table, create table, and what should we call it? We call it user. And we need to be a bit careful about capitalization here, because if we now had used a capital U, we could have run into some problems if the flag for capitalization is set to no. So remember to set it as this. Let's just create the table. Probably want some fields already. User, and then we need a user, also user ID. And let's just call that user, and we're gonna we'll make that our primary key. And let's just say that is incremental. Like this, and then we're gonna add a first name and a last name. First name, and that we're happy with that, and our last name, and let's add an email as well. And we're just gonna use these varchars for now. So we have a primary key that is not null, and that is auto incremented. How did that go away? And that's good. And I guess this is a lot better. Here we go. Close. And then basically we can, okay, it just counts up from here. And then we basically have this table, ID, user, first name, last name, email. That's good. All right, then let's move into Eclipse. And I think the first thing we can do is to create a simple form that takes first name, last name, email, sends it to the servlet. The servlet will create the user, retrieve the auto-generated key, and then forward to a result JSP and say user created with key number, whatever it is. And one thing we will need to do is to somehow package or shield our persistence to database so that we get some sort of mobility into the design here. So we'll do some sort of database connection object, which will give us a database connection. And then we're going to do a model layer with a user object. And I think the next lesson, not today, is where we do a full-blown kind of controller servlet. So let's not do that in this session here. So let's first do our create customer, create user, HTML. Create user, HTML. Boop. Here we go. And then create a HTML page with an input form that takes a first name, last name, and email, and sends it to a create user servlet. And let's just do it like this. Create. And here we have a simple form coming to us. Create user, and it capitalized it for some reason, but that's fine. Let's just submit. Here we go. And I guess so. Form action create user. It's a post. First name, last name, email. All right. And then we create a servlet. Where do we have those? Must be here somewhere. There we go. Com AI and I. What did we call this package here? Web test. I think that was web test. Yeah, let's just throw. Let's throw it in here, and we called it create user. That's good. Good. And then while we're at it, let's add a it's a little bit weird, isn't it? Why can't I? Source. That is weird. New class, okay. What do we call users? What's it users we're playing around with here? Here we go. And then we're basically gonna int user ID private string first name private string last name private string string email. There we are. And then it's crying that we're not going to use this, but we are. Let's see, is it here? We're just going to do some getters and setters on this one. What? Jesus. Why were we not allowed to do that? That's not fair. Getters and setters. The original select field which is not declared as type variables. Type, I don't know what that is. Is it private string? There's nothing weird here, is there? Is that why we are crying? Jesus. I guess this is ASMR for developers. I hope we use it like this because it is less scripted. Source, generate getters and setters. There we go. Okay. That was a little bit weird, but anyway. Good. And then we are gonna do a public user user ID. Now that is auto-generated, so first name, last name, and that's a string as well. Jesus. And email. And then we're gonna do this dot set. Oh Jesus, what the? Is that some sort of? This dot set first name. And then this dot set email. Here we go. And then we're gonna and then we're gonna go int user ID equals create user yes, and then there we go. All right, so basically we now have a constructor that sets this one, and then we just need to create this over here. Good. Then we need a database connection before we can do that much else. Why is it? There we go. So let's Let's do that. Let's just call it database connection. And I guess that's fine. And basically, we need a data source from that. And from that, we get from the SQL packages. So import that. What was that? Java.sql. Dot connection. Here it's telling us it's not used, but okay. And we're going to do some sort of factories way. So we're going to do private static data source. Data source. Guess that's fine. And then, oh, I was wrong. Let's get that in. Is that JX? I guess it is. Let's get away with this one. I thought that might have been. So we have the data source now, and then we're going to cheat a little. We're going to make this, we're going to do a static block. Just to, when the static version of this runs, so that will in the environment or the container, there will be one static object, and that's kind of the object factory of the database connection, and we can hook into the instance, to the, you would say, the controller of the static object, or the constructor of the static object. That's what we're going to do here. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a, we need a context to get our to get a hook into the environment. And that will probably need an import, and it will probably need to be wrapped in some sort of we need to get one of those. Here we go. This is not. So, nope. That's naming, isn't it? Where do we have that? Okay, let's just do it manually. Import. Naming.context, I guess. And then we need the initial context is probably also there. There we go. And then this will probably throw all kinds of, yes. Let's just do that for now. So we have a context. And then we basically, so this is a hook into the environment, and from that we need a data source. And we have one. Data source, and then from the context we need to do a lookup. Context.lookup. Yes, and then we need to give it a URI, and that is typically the namespace comp environment JDBC. Let's call it my database. I think that's something, and I think this will look up anything, right? Or is that just an object coming back? Yes, it is. So we need to cast it. And let's cast it to a data source. Good. Then we have a data source. Good. And then we can basically, so that means that when the master or the static object is created, this is then running, and then we can do a then we can basically do a public static data source, get data source. Do we need to give it something? Well, get connection, I'd rather say get connection. It's a connection that we need. Get connection. There we go. And then we need to return our data source to get connection. There we go. Okay. And then we need to add this import. Yeah, that's good. There we go. And this is probably throwing something as well. Let's go to connection. Okay. All right. I would think so. What we have here is then we're asking the environment for a connection, and basically what we need to do is configure that. So when we ask the environment will know what we are looking for, and that is in the context.xml. Where is that? Is that, do I need to create that? I probably do then. I think it's normally in, then we'll just do it. Let's do that then. Context.xml. Let's see. Oh, yeah, also. It's a little bit too much for me. Then let's write up that. Okay. Thank you. And we need to define a resource. Name is then, what did we call it? We could just, here we go. So this was basically the name we're looking for. And we need authorization on the container level. So let's write that in. And the type we're getting back is, it's a data source, right? It's a data source. So let's use this one. There we go. Then I guess there is username. I think, was that just root? And what did I do for password? I think I just added. I don't think I was that advanced. And then the driver class name is let's then call MySQL JDBC.driver, and the URL is then what is it? There's localhost, right? And there's a bunch of flags that needs to be set as well. So it's model just for readability, JDBC, MySQL, // it's on local host, local host, port 3306, and I think that we call it testDB. Let's check. testDB, yes. And then since we want the key back, we need to set a flag we call allow public key retrieval true. And we're not gonna use SSL yet for this test. And I don't know if this is super important, but I think this is it. Let's just check it out. Localhost 3306, testDB. First key is allow public key retrieval, allow public key retrieval, that's true, and then use SSL, that's false, and then the server time zone is UTC. Okay, let's put that up in the URL. X here, and what is it missing? Okay, we can do that. With this resource. Okay, only one. There can be only one. Tell you what. And then we need to do that. No, we don't. We already have it. So we have a resource here. Okay, what is it telling us now? I think there's some more flags, but let's see if this is gonna. I think we have some sort of timeout flags and something as well that needs to be set at some point. But let's see if it's clever enough to default to something. What was that? Probably it's a scheme or something. I think that's fine. Green? What does green mean? Context resource. Yeah, there we go. A resource. Okay, I guess that's fine. Okay, so so now when we look that up, the container Tomcat will say, what do we have here? That's a container. We need to instantiate a data source of this type, looking at this URL. Oh, I guess that's fine. And that all happens here. And the connection is then passed back. And then we have one instance per container, I guess. Okay, then we can basically go back to our customer and create it. And then we need some SQL. Let's try and do that. String SQL. And let's say insert into user. And we need to insert first name, last name, comma, and email. There we go. Oops. And then the values are then passed in 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And I guess we're happy with this, right? We can just check first name underscore, last name with underscore, and then email out. And here we will die a sudden death if we use that first name, last name. It's the other way around. Why did I do that? That was stupid. Anyway, is that really how I did it? I guess that is how I did it. First name, last name, email. Okay. All right. So we have some MySQL. Then we need to get our connection. What do we call it? Database. What did we call database? Dot get connection. Good. That will probably need an import. MySQL. And this one will probably require, should we just do like this? Yes. Okay, so we have a connection, and then we need to prepare a statement. So prepared statement. And then we need to get that from there. Prepare statement, and then it needs to do that. And then one of the things we discussed was, I'm just seeing that we want actually to present the generated key. And this one will give us this. So it will take our SQL is up here, and then it will need a flag. And that flag is on there we go. Good. Nothing explodes just yet. And then we need to set the first one. That was first name. And that's a string, set string. What is this? It's not the SQL for sure. Set string, this is this that get first name. There we go. And then we need to tell it that that is on the first. There we go. It needs to replace the first question mark, so to speak, with this one. So that was first name. And then we have number 2, and that is then the last name. And then we need to set the third, and that was the email. Here we go. Okay. And then we can check if we actually managed to create something. Statement dot execute. There we go. Good. What does that need? Nothing. Then we can say if rows inserted is higher than 0, and do something. And if not, let's just throw new exception. Failed to insert new customer. Guess that's fine. And then we need to create users, throws exception. Then we will basically throw everything back. That's not the most beautiful. But anyway, all right, so we're saying rows inserted is higher than 0, so we actually created something. Then we can ask for the keys, and that is hiding on a result set. And the result set we need to import. And where is that in SQL? Yes. And that's on the statement, I guess. Get generated keys. Good. And if there's something in that one, if generated keys.next, then why is that? So I'm on a fairly new keyboard here, and it's just, it's like 2 centimeters wider than the other one, so I keep hitting the wrong keys. Then we basically need, so we say there is a generated key, so we basically need to get that, and I guess that's the only thing that's coming back. So we can say this dot set user ID, and that is then the generated keys dot get. We need to get an int. Is there can we get an int? Yes, we can. And is that on? That is so simple that it's on space number 1. Okay, now we have 0 logging here, but that's fine for now. What are we doing here? Why would we return 0 down here? Oh, that's because the create user wants. Oh, that's what we're doing up here, so we actually don't need to do it like this, so we will just return this one. There we go. Okay, what is this? It must result where this one returns, this one throws. That doesn't really compute. This is, Okay. This one throws. This one throws. If return else throw new. Throw new. Where is it? Okay, it's not great. When do we get down here at all? So we're trying this one, and if everything is great, then we, if not, will we ever get down here? I don't think so, but I guess the compiler wants it. This is how class user through exception. Here we go. All right. Okay. So we have our database connection. Looks up from context. Picks up this one. Good. And we're doing this as part of the create user, which is called in the constructor, which sets the user ID. That's fine. I guess that's fine. Good. And then let's get back to our create user. And then we basically do our private void execute request. And taking these two. Then we throw back these two. Okay. Private void. Good. And basically execute requests. Here we go. Like this. Okay, so we do that on get, and we do it on post. Good. Then we will do string first name. Tell you what, we're gonna do. No, that's fine. Let's just get it request dot get parameter. and we have string last name. Yeah. And then we have string email. There we go. And then let's just, before we forget, let's see, what did we call them? First name, last name, email. So let's do these. This was first name, last name, and then email. Oops. Good. Very good. Then we basically have what we put in. Then we're going to do a customer. And what user called with it? I don't know why I keep calling it user. User, new user, oops, user. And that's then first name, email. Good. What's the problem here? Let's just let's just do like, let's just do like this. And then we're gonna do like this. And we're gonna use oh no man, let's call it this. We created new user, and then we're gonna set user ID, user.get user ID. Here we go. Good. Okay. Then we basically set first name, last name, email. We create the user. The database has been activated. That puts the get user ID or the user ID on the user object. And then we will forward to our JSP. And the way we do that is request.get request dispatcher. It's down there. And that is then webinf /views / create user dot JSP dot forward, and that takes response. Here we go. Now let's do the JSP then. And we're gonna do that. There we go. And what did we call it? Create user. .jsp finish. Good. Good. And then we're gonna create a JSP page that presents the newly created user object, which is stored on the request as user, wasn't it? Let's just this one. We put it on. Did we put it on request? We didn't. That's good. We just created it. So let's do that. Request dot set attribute user like this. Good. And then let's just do like this. Good JSP page presents newly created user very good to store on request as user. My servlet code is here. Don't use tags to present user fields. Let's see what comes out of this. Okay, thinking about it. Okay. Got it. That looks pretty healthy. Okay. That was a little bit weird. Okay, ChatGPT, what are you up to? Okay, just this was the form. Here we go. That's our JSP page. And we have it here. Let's see what comes out of this. Com your package. Okay, let's do that. He's in this package. There we go. There we go. Okay, user created. We'll take a user from the request. Call user. If user is not null, then we say get first name, get last name. Why is that? Okay, I could have told them that. Get first name. Get last name. Okay, get email, get user ID. Good. This is gonna be super interesting. So I think I think that we somehow need to tell the MySQL that we are returning that it's okay to return a generated key, but for now, we're just gonna run it and see what happens here. Okay, and what we need also is the JDBC. We need the driver, and let's just run it without and see if it's in the environment. It will probably explode when we do this, but why not? We simply don't have the driver in the environment, right? So that will explode. That's the first thing. Let's try it anyway, just for the hell of it. Let's first test that it's running. Run as run server. Finish. The selection cannot be run on any server. It's a create user HTML. Run as on this one. There we go. Okay, we can say first name, last name, email at domain.com, and get ready for the explosion. Okay, so create user is not found. That was easy. Webinf view create user. Why is that not found? Create user. Create user. Create user. Okay, that's weird. That is super weird. Webinf view. Views, probably. Yes, that is it. Views. Let's do it. Stop. Let's publish. And let's start. Good. And then run on server. Oop. Then we just save name, name, email, domain, submit. Okay, no user date found in request, and that is probably a class not found or something here. It's not bound in this. Unable to find JDBC, lookup, blah, blah, blah. Because data source is null. Get connection, cannot invoke. And it is probably because we need to get the JSP driver in here. I would have expected a class not found. But it is. We have a naming initial context. Cannot invoke. Data source is null. This is online. What? 24. Let's just look what we're doing there. Data source, get connection. Huh? Get connection. Okay. Let's just try something here. This is fancy logging. Okay. There, look up comp, and JDBC MyDB. Okay, let's just give it, just so we're sure that it's not anything else than the driver that we need. Okay, and then run on server. I use a data file, that's fine. And name JDBC, I'm unable to find, there we go. Okay. Okay. We simply never got that far. 25. That's so weird. Anyway, let's solve this one. And what we need to do is download JDBC for MySQL. We're not the first one. Download connector. Is that it? Let's just take this one. MySQL connector. Yes. Let's download this. It's probably this one. What's in here? This is the bad boy that we want. Let's copy that. Copy. Can we paste here? Is that possible? Yes. Now we have a SQL source here. Let's stop. Let's publish. Let's start it. What came out there? Didn't I see something? Name MyDB, ignoring unknown property value of MySQL. What the hell? Huh. What have we done wrong? What's this? Okay. Let's see what that is. Is that just because it's not? Let's try and submit this again. No user data. What the hell is this? JDBC not found. Unable to find JDBC. Name not found. JDBC MyDB is not found in this context. And it's in, here it is, context.xml, underneath the inf, comp, context, resource, let's see, come, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, it is this, JDBC, MyDB, why did I comp in, it's just this part, let's try again. Publish, start, run, it started, okay, then we can just submit, okay, here it is, explode again, that's new, that's good, cannot, why not, why not, cannot create a JDBC driver class, then no suitable driver, yeah. Why is that the case? Why is that the case? Why don't we cannot create driver class? That's weird. Okay. Did I find something? Let's try and see. I'm getting getting this error when connecting to a MySQL base from Java. What could be wrong? That we have. Oh, we need to build path. Okay, let's do this. Okay, did we fuck up in there? We can just steal this with pride in the XML. Root and password. Okay. Good. And what else? We needed to add it to the build path of this project. Where do we have that? Yeah. Then we need to add this. By the way, so this is for 9.2. That might be an issue. Might need it for the 8. Wasn't it 8 we're running? We can just do. We can just try and replace it. But let's just, for now, let's try and publish. Stop. Publish. Start. There we go. Okay. So we had we needed to add to the class path or the build path for this to be picked up when deployed. All right, let's just check that it is in this one. There's a refresh somewhere. And there we are. First name, last name, email. Cool. Good. And I guess that is enough for today. Thank you all.